Hey everybody, welcome back to the video. So today we're going to be learning about how to make a simple or basic calculator using HTML and JavaScript. So let's get started. So basically these are the three files we need. So let me go ahead and show you. So I already have my live server done right here. So this is what we need: an index.js file so that we can write our JavaScript code and calculate and stuff, and our HTML file so that we can write buttons and stuff, and our index.css in which we can write. And this is a sign which I need for the division. So yeah, I just copied that right there or pasted it right there. So you don't have to worry about that. You can just search up division, copy paste or so, and it's gonna give you in the Google. So now let's go ahead and start off with our index.html and start off by making our buttons and the entry so that we can write stuff. So first of all, we're gonna have a doctype HTML or HTML tag, and inside this we need an head tag, which I forgot. Let me go ahead and add a head tag, and inside this head tag we need a link tag. So inside this link tag, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a rel. And so this thing we need because we need the what is that, this index.css. So yeah, we do need this. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna need an href equals index.css. And now what we can do is we can go to our, let's go ahead and go type our body tag. And inside our body tag we also need the index.js. So what we can do is we can do script source equals, and then we can do index.js. Let's go ahead and do that. So that's pretty much about it. And now if I reload it, everything works. It's normal. So let's go ahead and do something right here. So first of all, we need, this is how we need a div tag. This is our parent div tag, and under this we're gonna have sub div tags so that we can write our numbers or buttons and stuff. So since why we are using div tags, basically div tags are block level elements. Basically they're gonna separate the lines for us. So yeah, that's why we use div tags. You can understand even though you don't understand what I say. So what we're gonna do inside this div tag is we are gonna be having something like this. So let me go ahead and remove these white spaces right here, and let me go ahead and put that. So there we go. So now what we can do inside this is we can have our first button, and this button is gonna have a class. I'm gonna put a class as button, and there we go. So now inside this class, what I can do is I can just type something like this. So since I want the text to be bold, I'm gonna use the b tag. And now what I can do is the first thing inside this is gonna be our number 7, and we're gonna start off with 7, so you're gonna understand later. So what we can do is we can copy this and then paste it all the time. And I know it's kind of sounds tedious, but still we gotta do this. So let me go ahead and do button right there, and then this is gonna be the number 8, and the same thing. Let's go ahead and not copy that, and then this is gonna be the number 9. So we have 3 buttons done right here. So let's go ahead and go right here. So I don't think so you guys can see, so let me zoom in. So this is how it's gonna look: 7, 8, 9. So it's kind of looking like a bold look, so that's why I use bold. And the reason why we are using a class is because so that we can customize like the CSS and stuff. So let me go ahead and copy this and paste it, like I don't know, like 4 times I guess. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now what we can do is this is the class, and let me go ahead and type, this is gonna be 4, 5, 6, and oh wait, 5 and 6. So first of all we're gonna be adding numbers, and after that we're gonna be adding the signs and stuff. So that's gonna be 1, that's gonna be 2, that's gonna be 3, and there we go. So the next thing is gonna be 0, and the rest are the signs. We have to add some more buttons to these, so that for signs we're gonna do that. So this is how it's gonna look. Just do not include these, except so just see till here. So 7 to this 3 right here. So that works. That's pretty good, I'll say. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and add some signs. So let's go ahead and add the first sign is gonna be, let me go ahead and remove that. Okay. So now the first sign is gonna be our division, or let's say, yeah, it's division. So let me go ahead and copy this since it's division and put it right here. So this is gonna be the same thing. So let me just go put, yeah, that should be good I guess. And I'm gonna copy this and paste this multiple times. So the next sign is gonna be our multiplication. I'm just gonna put X for it. And the next thing is gonna be minus or subtraction. Let's go ahead and put that. And now what we can do is we can copy this, and for some signs like these this minus or dot, for them we do need a specific different class, which I'm going to be talking about. So here, let's go see here. So here what we need is a dot. Let me go ahead and put that, and this thing is going to be, let's see, it's going to be plus, and the next thing we need is should be equals, where we can calculate our stuff. And here we don't need a lot of buttons since this is RCE. You don't have to worry about a lot about this format and stuff, but I just need it. So there we go. So that's a pretty good format, I'll say. So if you see normally these buttons, this row looks good. This row kind of doesn't look good, except see this dot right here. It does not align. So for this, what we need is we have to have a separate class. I'm gonna put a dot, or let's say class, and or let's just say dot for these. And yeah, and now that's gonna have a separate class which we're gonna put customizing. And this row looks good because of the dot, it looks like that. So yeah, and the minus, so we need to customize the minus too. Let me go ahead and put it minus. And the last thing is CE. Let's go ahead and have for CE2. There we go. So let me go ahead and put that in. Actually, let me do this. So we have our all buttons right here. So there we go. So this is our format. It looks pretty good. So now what we want to have is another div tag. And inside this div tag, what we're going to be having is a text entry, so that we can write or we can see our stuff, it works or not. And so yeah. So this is going to be having a type of, let's say, text. And normally people can write in this. So let's say I can write hello, I can write anything that doesn't make sense. So what you can inside do is you can change this mode to read only, which means I cannot write anything. So if I just type hello, it doesn't even work. So if I just click this number, it's gonna work. So that's how it's gonna be. So that's pretty much about how you can do these buttons, and this is where we can see our output and stuff. So now let's go ahead and go to our second file, which is going to be index.css. So first of all, what I want to mention is I want to have a class to this, so that we can put our background for this, and so, or otherwise it's going to look very plain, which we don't want. So let me go ahead and put that right there. And yeah, now that's pretty much it. So let me go ahead and add an ID, I guess, for this, because I want to change the color of the equals to be orange and stuff. And we cannot do this button because these buttons have all in common, so I can just keep a separate ID for it, I guess. Equals, and there we go. So I guess that's pretty much it, I guess. So let's go ahead and go to index.css. And now what we can do is the background. Basically, we're starting off with the background. So let me go ahead and unzoom this. So this is our background. So let me go ahead and show you guys. This is our class, and the ending tag is right here. So basically this is going to be highlighting all these inside these. So means we are going to apply everything before this. So we are going to add a background like right here, and that's going to make us pretty good, the color back. And we can also add this calculator to be in the middle, so I'm going to do that too. So first of all, dot background, and I already set it a background color, which I already have. It's going to be RGB, and this is going to be like 27, and I guess that's 26. And let me go ahead and put that for 25. It's kind of like in a descending order, 27, 26, 25. So yeah, and the color is going to be this kind of color, not too black, but it's kind of this color. So I'll say this is a pretty good color if you want. So if you want, you can just copy this or write this color. So yeah, and now since I want this to be in the middle, I'm just going to put it margin. If you don't know what margin is, I recommend you guys checking my margin video, which I made a tutorial on. So you can just either go check in my HTML playlist or the CSS playlist. So it's going to be there in either both. I guess it's going to be in both of them. So now what we can do is margin left, and this is going to be 510 pixel. And let's go ahead and do that. So let me see. Let me go ahead and unzoom this to the 100% or the default. So this is how it's gonna look. I know it's pretty small, but since we need it to be this size, we have to. So this margin right, I get, or actually margin top. Let me go ahead and put margin top. It's gonna be like, I guess 80 pixels. So yeah. Now it doesn't even look as if it's in the middle, but if you customize this button to a bigger size, it's going to be exact the same. So now what we want to do is we want to customize the border radius. So let me go ahead and put the border radius to be 10 pixels. So in case if you guys cannot see, I'm just gonna zoom in a bit so that you guys can see, I guess. So yeah, let me go ahead and do this. Okay, now it gives us a scroll bar, but it doesn't look that good. But yeah, so we added a border of this 10 pixels so that it looks kind of roundy shape. So yeah, and now what we can do is we can have a width so that because normally it is too long, I'll say. So yeah, 500 pixel, and it's gonna be even longer, but we don't have to worry about that. So, and then that's pretty much it about the background. So I already had these before, so yeah, that's why I had these. So if you want, you can just copy the values or take the values. So yeah, I'm just gonna put this code in like the description or so. So yeah, and now what we can do is we can have a dot button, and inside this dot button, what we need is the height, because the buttons look very small, so we need the height of it to be 100 pixel. And the next thing, the width, is gonna be 110 pixel. So now that looks a lot better, but it doesn't look that great, I'll say. But we can increase the font size. So let me go ahead and do font size. And we're not going to be using something like 10% or 10 pixel. But instead, what I want to do is normally we can use these medium and stuff. So we can do X large, this one I guess. So yeah, let me go ahead and do that. So now that's a lot better. So let me go ahead and zoom this to normal size. So now you guys can see, I guess, how it looks. So yeah. Now we're also gonna set the border radius because it looks pretty bad. So let me go ahead and put the border radius to be 15 pixels, I guess. Yeah, maybe that's a lot better. So yeah, that's border radius. And now we can also add a margin. So let me go ahead and add a margin to the left so that we can put this borders a bit to the left, and then we can see a bit of a color too. So it's gonna be margin left is gonna be like 10 pixels, not too much, but 10. And there we go. So now we can see a bit of there. I know it kind of looks pretty bad, but still, because of these dot and stuff, we can customize that, so you don't have to worry about it. And now that's pretty much about button. So we just have to see how our button looks. So it looks pretty good, I'll say, right? It does look good. So now what we can do is we can do dot that dot. So let me go ahead and show you what is it. So it should be somewhere right here. Yeah. So the reason I put a dot is because it's gonna look very different as I showed you guys. So yeah, dot and the minus looks pretty different. So yeah. So that's why I created a separate class. And the reason for CE is because normally it's gonna be in the middle or so. So that's why I want it to be in a perfect place. So I'm gonna put it right here. That's why I created a new class for CE too. And now what we can do is we can do this. And inside this dot, we are also gonna have a height of the same thing like before. Let's go and put 100 pixel, and this is gonna be a width of, let's say it's 110 pixel. And now what we want is, the reason why I did this is not because of this width and stuff, but about the font size. I think 1 centimeter looks good, so that's why I did it. So now we can kind of see the dot too. So now what we can do is we can also add something like this. So we're gonna do border radius is gonna be 15 pixels as usual, and the margin left is gonna be 10 pixels. Let me add margin left. There we go. It's gonna be 10 pixels. And now that looks a lot better, so we can see pretty good. So it looks pretty aligned and pretty neat. So now what we can do is we can kind of like copy this. Let me go copy that and paste it right here. And then I'm just gonna rename this to the minus, or basically the subtraction. So the reason why I put it for this is the same reason for the dot, because it looks kind of small. So yeah. And now we can see the minus too, so that works. So this is our decent calculator. It works pretty well. So we cannot type anything for now, but we can do this. So now what we want to have is our entry, because the place, this is where our calculation does show up, but it looks very, very, very small. So what we can do is we can see our class. What's the class for entry? It's gonna be somewhere at the top. Okay, it's let's see, where's the entry? Okay, it's right here. So let me add a class for this. So let me add a class called entry. And now what I can do is I can type the read-only mode. So now we have a class for the entry. So now we can use it in here. Dot entry. And now inside the entry, I'm gonna put a height of 100 pixel. And let's say the width to be as 470, I guess. 470. pixel. And let me see. Okay, that's a lot better. And now what we can do is border radius, since that looks pretty bad. We can have a border radius. And the border radius for this is going to be 10 pixels, not 15. But if you want, you can do it more. So let me try 15 first. Let me go ahead and go there. I messed it up. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that looks good too. So I'm just going to keep 15 there. So 15 is the border pixel or the border radius. And margin bottom. Let me go ahead and put the margin bottom. There we go. And this is going to be a 30 pixel. So these pixels I already wrote in a place so that I can use this for the video. So if you want, you can directly like how I did is like I just guessed the values and then I did it wherever I want. So you can just be taking guesses and then just putting there wherever you want. So you can do that too. And the reason why we need margin bottom is we want a bit of a space right here so that it looks kind of good. So that's why I had the margin bottom. So now what we need is basically something like this. So we're gonna have a font size because normally whenever you type it's gonna look very small. So we need it to be 1.5 centimeters. And let's go ahead and go to the next thing, which is margin left. The reason why we are using margin left is it's kind of like to the wall, but we don't need it. So let me go ahead and customize the margin left. So we are using a lot of margins right here, so it's good to know about margins too. And now we can have a background because the background looked pretty plain, so we can put it to something like this. I'll set it to gray, but gray actually I don't think so. That looks pretty good, but I can customize this. So I'm gonna put somewhere right here, I guess. And yeah, that's a lot better. So that's an example of how you can customize this. So now it looks pretty good except the CE, which we're gonna be working on. So we can click these buttons, which barely happens nothing. So it's just a button. We can have an on click to it so that we can customize it and stuff. So now what we need is .ce. So this CE is basically this clear button right there. And now what we can do in this is we can have our height, and it's to be 100 pixel, and then the next thing to be width is 100 pixel, 110 I guess, yeah, 110 pixel. And then the next thing is to be font size. So the font size is going to be kind of small, so we're going to put it to the same font size where it's at. There we go. So now what we can do is border radius is going to be 15 pixel. Oops, it should be radius. Let me go and put that, and that's going to be 15 pixel. So now what we can do is margin left. Let's see, margin left. There we go. So this is going to be 10 pixel. So let's see till here. So basically what I did is I'm basically setting the height of the button and the width of the button and the font size right here and the border radius so that it gets a little curve right there, and margin left is gonna be towards this so that it's not to the wall. And now what we can do is basically we can have that much, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So everything looks good except we need the some buttons to be in a different color, like the equals button. It looks pretty bad. So if you want, you can customize all the other buttons, but the only thing I'll just say is the equals, because using with the equals button it looks pretty good. So let me go ahead and put what's the class, by the way. Let me go ahead and see the class of the equals, or the ID. Okay, it's equals right there, so it's correct. So now what we can do is it's a very simple short CSS for this. Background color is just going to be orange. Let me put that. So let me reload this. Oh, oops, it's not working. So let me see. We spelled it wrong. Equals. And there we go. So now it works. So it looks pretty good. But if you want, you can customize all these buttons too. So yeah, you can. But I'm just gonna do it for the equals. And one more thing, if you want this to be over here, you can do something like this. So if you want it to be in the middle or so, I exactly don't know. I guess it's 170 pixels, probably. Oh yeah, we can put a bit more, 180 pixels. And oh, I did it wrong. So let me go put it 180 pixels. And yeah, if you want, you can put it in there. So I'm just gonna put it right there if you want. So there we go. So that's 190 pixel at there. So now what we can do is we can do something like this. So we can go ahead and go to our last file, basically index.js. So as we see, we have our HTML done, CSS done. So this is a pretty good format. So it's in 100% basically default. So this is how our calculator is gonna look like. But normally if I click this button 4 times 6, nothing is working. So we want them to work. So that's why we're going to be using our JavaScript file. So that's why I did this right here. Let me see. Yeah, that one right there, script source, so that I can get my JavaScript file inside this. So let me go ahead and first start off by having some code right here. So let me go ahead and zoom this. And yeah, that's a little better. So first of all, we need an on click to these. Let me go ahead and type on click. Our on click is gonna be something like this. So let me go ahead and add a class. For some reason, it just removed it. So this on click, since it's like adding to the entry or so, we want this to be add to the entry. Add to entry. So this is the function I'm gonna be creating, and it's gonna passing a value be 7. So the reason why we're passing 7 is because so that we can add the specific number to the class. So let me go ahead and do something like this. Let me copy this and paste this right here. So let's go ahead and do that, and there, and here. What we want to do, by the way, is normally many people would just do this and then just write division, and that's wrong because you have already a double quote and you cannot use it. So what you can do instead, you can have this kind of quote, and this is gonna work. So the thing you have to pass is not this sign right here, so you cannot pass this sign, but instead what you're gonna pass is this kind of sign. So basically slash. And now what you can do is you can copy this and paste this right here again and again and again. Let me go do that. So that's gonna be, oh wait, we did it wrong. So let me go ahead and that's gonna be 4, and that's gonna be 5, and that's gonna be 6, and this is not gonna have any string. So let me go ahead and remove these quotes for these. So there we go. So normally the reason why we use quotes for these is because they're like kind of like, let me see. So let me show you guys without quotes. It's gonna give us an error saying you cannot use this little, and there we go. So you cannot use this thing right here. You cannot use this expression like this. So what you can do is you can put that, and that's gonna work. So since this is multiplication and the same thing, you cannot use X, but you can use this kind of sign. So there we go. So now let me go ahead and copy and paste all these right here and right here. So this is gonna be 1, and the next thing is gonna be right here, it's gonna be 2, and the next thing it's gonna be 3, and the last sign here is gonna be minus, and we have to go paste it right here again. So I know this kind of like a lot of tedious work, but after it's gonna worth it. It's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be a lot better, and it's gonna be like as if you have a Google calculator. I mean, you can save it though if you want. So yeah, now we're gonna have plus sign right here, and this is gonna have something like this. So there we go. So now that works. So we have our signs, everything done right here. But the thing I want to mention, we're gonna have a sign for this too. So I'm just gonna change these names soon. So let me go ahead and put this to be, this should not have pass anything, and the same thing for equals, because I'm gonna be having 2 different functions right here, or basically 3. So what I want is this, whenever you click on equals, it should calculate the result, right? So if I do 6 times 6 equals, and then it's gonna give us 36. So that's what we wanted. So what you can do is clear, or actually it's not clear, it should be calculate. Let me go put that. So that's our function name, which we're going to be naming, which gonna be there in our index.js. And for our CE, since we have to clear, we're gonna do clear entry. So that's your function name for that. And the rest is good, I guess. So yeah, let me see. Yeah, the rest are good. So now we can go to our index.js so that we can create these functions. So the first function is add to entry. So make sure you spell it right as the thing you have there. So I guess this is the name. Yeah. So now what we can do is we can have something like this. Entry equals document dot get element by ID. And we have to get, wait, let me do this. Wait, let me spell this right. Dot get element by ID. And normally we don't have any ID for this, right? So that it's gonna display our text and so, but we don't have any ID. So what we can do is we can specify an ID. It's gonna be entry. There we go. So let me put that. So that's our ID entry right there. So now what I can do is I can type entry. So that's pretty much it about this right here. So now you're gonna change the entry dot value to the value what they say. So plus equals, since you're adding, so let's say if there's 6, if you just do equals, it's not gonna work. So I'm gonna do just equals, and it's not gonna work. So let me go ahead and put the value right here. So since we have an argument, that's why we're gonna have a parameter right here. So there we go, and we're gonna be passing that 7 and stuff like 70s. So yeah, I'm gonna change these names. I'm just gonna put 9 there. And yeah, so I guess if I miss something, I'm just gonna change it soon. So there we go. So we're basically doing something like this. So let me go ahead and go right here, and let me open the console so that if we can catch any errors or so. So let me see. So if I type 6, 6 works, 7, 8, 9, 5, 4, 6, 3, 2, 1, everything works. So let me click CE. CE doesn't work because we didn't do, and minus works, and times works, and division works. So this works, but the thing is why we are getting something like this. So if I type 7 times 7, and it's just giving us this multiplication sign, which we don't want. So that's the reason why you're going to use plus equals. Basically you're adding. And let me go ahead and go right here. So now if I do 7 times 9 equals, since we don't have the calculate, so it works. Now I can do 7 times 9 times 9 divided by 3 or so. So yeah, that works. So let me go and remove all this, and there we go. So that works. Taylor is pretty good. So we are basically adding to the entry. So now let's go ahead and work on the clear entry. Clear entry, and let's go ahead and add this right here. Clear entry. And what this have to do is, this is very simple though. So let me go ahead and have something like this. I'm gonna take that. There we go. So now entry dot value equals, and it's pretty simple. You can just have this string right here. It's basically gonna change the whole thing to be nothing. So let me go ahead and type 6 times 6 CE. It removed everything, and I can type back again. And this calculator doesn't work. Divided by 9, minus 3, anything works. So I can click CE, and it's gonna remove all that. So our CE function, or basically clear entry function or clear function, does work. So now what we can do is we can also have something like this. So function, and the next thing we want inside here is to be something like this. So this is our last function, basically calculate. Let me spell this right, calculate. So there we go. So our calculate function is there. Let me see if I did the same thing. Let me copy this instead and paste it right here. So our calculate function is ready. So normally what people may do is they would make some mistake like this. 78 divided by 9 equals, and yeah, actually let me include that later. So what we can do is we can have something like this. So first of all, what we want is it should evaluate. So what we can do is we can use eval, and there we go. So inside this eval we can do entry, and this is not gonna work, but I'm just gonna show you guys. 78 times 9 equals, and that doesn't work. So instead what you can do is entry dot value, and let me go ahead and do 3 minus 3, and I guess I did something wrong right here. So let's see, on click by an equals class. I guess I have to give a space or so, maybe not. So let me see, it should there's something wrong right here. So okay, so the reason is because we are not displaying this. So let me go ahead and do result equals, and what we can do is entry dot value should be the result. So we're basically removing all the value which we have, and then we're just adding the result. So let's do 3 minus 2, I guess, equals 1. So that works. So I can click CE, and our basic calculator is done. So I can do this, and normally it works. So, but there's something wrong right here. There's something really missing. So what if people do something like this? 3 minus times, wait, so there we go. So we got an error saying syntax error, unexpected end of input at calculate. So that doesn't work. So our calculator is not still done. So what we can do is we can have our try block. So that's what I wanted to include before. And let me go ahead and put it right here. So inside this try block, it's gonna try it, but instead you need also a catch block, or it's not gonna work. Try catch. So if you see my error handling videos, you would have understood. So what we can do inside this is we can have catch E. Basically you can put it anything you want. So what we want to do is entry dot value equals E, and there we go. So let me go ahead and do 6 times, let's go ahead and do this. So syntax here and all this thing right here. So we don't want this all full message, but we just want the name. So what we can do is e.name, and 9 divided by 9 equals 1. 6 times 3, that works. Let me go ahead and click CE. Let's do dot 3 plus, let me go ahead and do these. So now if I do this, it's gonna give us a syntax here. There we go, so that works. So you're basically getting the name. So that's pretty much about how you create a calculator. So I'll just post all this code in the description below if you want. So that's pretty much about how you can create a basic JavaScript calculator. So that's it for today's video. See you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.